If you're going to say you would choose death, that is of no concern to me. Ooh, this man heartless. How could you be so heartless? However, before you die, I will pull the truth from your still breathing lips. Ah! No matter what I have to do. Hell yeah. I think the last thing I was in a trial and I got some time. March 22nd, 2:14 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 3. Dude, I can't believe that. Adrian, no way. Not cool, collected Adrian Andrews. She's your manager. It would have been very easy for her to pull this off. The only person who had easy access to the knife you used at dinner was, well, her. So after the ceremony, during the break, huh? Gotta find myself an old folks home so I can throw it back and get Gertrude. And have Gertrude catch it and toss my SS. Okay, sir. Okay. Why's her name gotta be Gertrude? I was sleeping like a log the entire time. See, she could have also easily planted that blood-covered button in your hakama. Because she was the one that came up to wake me. Then, dude, you're saying it really was her? Yes, she's the real killer. She was the one who murdered Juan Cordia. But why? I thought she was buds with Juan. She has her own agenda. Her own agenda? What are you talking about? I'm sure you'll see by the time this trial's over. It'll be alright. I'll get you acquitted by the end of the day. Get me a verdict that's refreshing like a spring breeze. Okay, Mr. Lawyer Dude? Phoenix. You think her motive was related to Celeste Impact's missing suicide note, right? Yeah. Miss Andrews depended on Miss Impact's as her strength and reason to live. But then Miss Impact suddenly killed herself. It sounds like she left a suicide note, and that person thought to have hidden it. Is Juan Cordia the victim of this murder? And that's why I think that Miss Andrews got close to Mr. Cordia. All to get that suicide note back. That sounds plausible. But one thing bothers me. Oh. But one thing bothers me. What? Who was it that first told us about their relationship? Better stated, Miss Andrews' dependency issues with regards to Miss Impact. Dude, it's a trap. Our boys setting us up. It was Edgeworth. Looks like he's still the one in command on this ship. Don't let your guard down yet. I'll be like, appreciate you. I'm gonna shoot you. I'm gonna go. All right, March 22nd, 2:25 p.m. District Court. Courtroom number 3. Like, I'm glad Edgeworth isn't dead, but like, bruh. Court will now reconvene. Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, if you please. Prosecution calls the witness subpoenaed by the court. Miss Adrian Andrews, the person who discovered the crime in Mr. Juan Cordia's room. What is your occupation? I'm the manager of the defendant in the case, Mr. Matt on guard. I see. Now then, before we begin, Your Honor, I have one request. Yes, sure. What is it? I'm sure everyone in this room is wondering the same thing and would love to find out more about my relationship with the victim. After all, it was a topic of a certain weekly magazine recently. No, I have no idea what you mean. I've never even heard of Gossipland. Okay, sir. If the judge was ever a prosecution witness, he'd do all my work for me. Anyway, I was wondering if you could please tell us about your relation to the victim. Yes, I was seeing Mr. Cordia. I was also aware of the rivalry that exists between Matt and Juan. But this was a private matter between Juan and myself. So it was a fry and bait matter. Or was it bait and fry? Reminds me of fishing. But I didn't kill him. No one is accusing you of that. I think there's someone who would beg to differ. I think we all understand your relationship with the victim now, Miss Andrews. Very well then. Witness, please testify to the court about what happened when you discovered the murder that had taken place. Not I like bookworms. Okay. Are you good, KJ? You good? When I found the body. It was time for the show to start, so I went to get Matt from his room. After that, I went to Juan's room. And there was his dead body. I was in shock. What I saw was, naturally, this exact same scene as in the crime scene photo. Why'd you say that, naturally? I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice. Who does that? Who does that? You see Whatever. Yeah, you poured yourself a glass of juice? Yes. Sadly, I didn't remember not to touch things at the scene of the crime. And I disturbed the crime scene by moving this one thing. And that is when the fingerprints on the wine glass were made, Your Honor? I see. Well, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Phoenix? She is one cool and collected customer, and she has the brains to match. Yes, I know. In order to catch a person like her, you have to avoid head-on confrontations. God damn it. You should disrupt her pacing. Disrupt her pacing? She's the type of woman who is easily thrown off by the things inconsistent with her thinking. So you have to attack when she least expects it. The instant you let up on your offense is the instant this trial is over. Understand? Alright, what do we got here? It was time for the show to start, so I went to get Matt from his room. Not gonna press that. After that, I went to Juan's room. Okay, fine. And there was his dead body. I was in shock. You were in shock? What? Was I not supposed to be? What do you mean you're not supposed to be? It's a very calculating person, and despite how close they were, I doubt she had romantic feelings for Mr. Cordia. Anyone randomly stumbling on a dead body would be in shock. And you can't seriously expect that a young, beautiful beauty like her would not be shocked. Somehow I don't think beauty has anything to do with being shocked or not. I see. Yeah, Edgeworth is back! So the girlie with the whip got shot. And so she's in the hospital, and Edgeworth got in there instead to be the prosecutor. But we gotta get our defendant acquitted today. Otherwise, Maya's in trouble because they kidnapped her, okay? They kidnapped her. So, yeah. Same scene in photo. I felt as though I was about to faint. Okay, yeah, I'm pressing this. So, like, who pours himself a fucking drink? Juice? Yes, there was a bottle of tomato juice on the table, so I helped myself. I know! Okay, Jay, this case is crazy, right? It's crazy. But you didn't drink any of it, did you? Huh? There's no lip marks left on the wine glass to suggest that anyone drank from it. I wasn't feeling terribly great, so I set the glass down without drinking it. So you poured it to drink, but then you didn't drink it. Would like to confirm with you one more time. When you discovered the dead body of Juan Cordia, you were in great shock. And that's when you poured yourself the glass of juice, correct? And what of it? My mind really was a complete blank at the time. Your mind was a complete blank? I didn't think that was possible for you. Aren't you rude today? I was so dazed that I made one careless mistake. That one thing. What one thing? Never mind. It's no big deal. What do you mean it's no big deal? We're pressing that. Miss Andrews, I'm convinced that you, as you said, made a mistake at the scene of the crime. What I really want to know is, what is this mistake? Actually... So would I. I'm sorry, it's kind of embarrassing. When I set the glass down on the dresser, I accidentally knocked the flower vase over. Flower vase? Are you talking about the one on the floor in the crime photo? This mess of glass shards? It was originally on top of the dresser, but when I bumped into it with my elbow, it fell onto the guitar case. Why did you withhold such an important piece of information? I'm sorry, I thought that since the crime scene was already in disarray, that people would simply assume the vase was just a part of the mess. The chick is lying, that's what I'm saying. Looks like yet another fact has come to light here. Please add to this anything else you have to reveal in your testimony. I'm sorry, but I have nothing more to add. I didn't touch anything else. When you have nothing more to add. I was the one who knocked the flower vase over where it fell onto the guitar case. But I don't think there was any water or anything on the guitar case. No, there is some water, but only on top of the lid bears Cordia's fingerprints. I don't know, man. I'd rather stuff like, this chick is capping. What does the crime scene look like? It was open, though. You know what? I'm just gonna present this. Fuck it. Objection! You testified that you knocked the flower vase over. Is this correct? Yes. And are you sure it fell onto the guitar case? Is there some problem with what I said? It's not some problem. It's a major problem. It's sure the top of the guitar case was wet with water. However, that's exactly what is so strange. Miss Andrews, you testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case. However, if that were true, the case should have gotten wet on the inside, not the outside. See? That's very true. Furthermore, there's one other strange thing about this guitar case. And what is that? Let's take another look at the crime scene photo. The remains of the vase are scattered all over the floor. And what's wrong with that? If the guitar case was open when the vase fell, the glass shards should be inside, not outside the case. What's your point, right? That the case was closed at the time that the vase was knocked over? Is that all? No, think back to what Miss Andrews testified to. She said that other than the vase, she didn't touch anything else. Yes, that's right. She did implicitly say she didn't touch the guitar case. But this whole matter with the guitar case is a dead end. The bright red guitar was found at the studio. It has no bearing on this case at all. That may very well be. However, the empty guitar case does seem to have no relation to this case, does it? It seems that there's no deeper meaning to the guitar case. Well, Mr. Wright, do you think we need to hear more details about the guitar case? I'm kind of feeling like no. But I feel like she said it disrupt, though. I feel like we gotta make her testify? What do you... I'm disrupting. The empty guitar case. I believe this is a crucial piece of the puzzle. It's really not. I can't believe anyone would reach for straws like this, but it is you. Can't believe I'm doing this either. Right. I'll follow along. For now. Miss Andrews, please testify to the court about guitar case. Yes, Your Honor. I don't remember too clearly because I was a bit dazed. I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. It's not a big deal though, right? The case was empty after all. As for why I opened the case, even I don't know. That doesn't even make sense. It looks like this wasn't really an important thing. This wastefulness is such a familiar feeling by now that it's almost comforting. Anyway, I'll just go ahead and start the cross-examination. Using any way to change the topic. A convenient escape for a weak man. Whatever, Edgeworth. I don't remember too clearly because I was a bit dazed. I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. It's not a big deal though, right? The case was empty after all. As for why I opened the case, even I don't know. KJ, I don't understand either why he's being like this. Okay, I'm just gonna present the guitar case. There's no way you were the one who opened the guitar case. Why would you say that? It's elementary, my dear. Because the only fingerprints on this guitar case are the ones of the victim. Ah. I actually like her outfit. What is it, Miss Andrews? You shouldn't assume that I must have left prints just because I touched the case. What do you mean? What if I were to tell you that I was wearing gloves at the time? Sounds like she dressed up as our boy and tried to frame him. Gloves? But why would you be wearing gloves at the time? It was the night of the award ceremony, so of course I dressed up for the occasion. Yes, now I remember. I'm almost sure I was wearing a pair of thin gloves. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, it seems the witness was wearing gloves at the scene of the crime. You think she's slick? Yeah, no, so basically I think she was, it's strange. Dressing up as the Nickel Samurai? Anyway, it's strange though because there were fingerprints on the wine glass. You're wearing gloves? Isn't that a little strange? Why is that strange? Do you have something that would prove I was not wearing gloves at the time? I do, girly. I have proof right here. This wine glass. The wine glass? You left your fingerprints very clearly on this wine glass. Ah, even if you took your gloves off when you poured yourself the thin glass of juice, wouldn't you think it was just a little strange that you put your gloves back on just to open the guitar case? Ah! Why did it look like that? Order! 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 Looks like you hit the nail on the head this time. What do you mean? I believe the guitar case plays a very important role here, but it's just an empty case. I wonder if it really was empty, though. But the bright red guitar's at the studio. Phoenix, drop all your presumptions. What was in the guitar case was not the bright red guitar. You don't mean it was a bright white guitar? Wait, that's not right either. I admit I would be unnatural for someone to do that. Why should she look like those girls? Okay. So the witness was not wearing gloves, despite the fact that on the case... Objection! What up? Shall we? Your Honor, this is obviously the defense's usual misdirected tactic at work. Steer the court towards an unrelated topic. Lure us all in with this misguided... No, Your Honor, please recall that Miss Andrews had testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case, which means that the case was closed when the crime took place. However, it is wide open in this photo of the crime scene. I'm sure this guitar case has some relation to the murder. So many objections, right? If you're so sure, right? Then I'm sure you can somehow substantiate your outrageous claim, correct? Please, enlighten us as to why the guitar case has anything at all to do with this murder. Can you do that, Mr. Wright? Well, let's suppose for a second that the bright red guitar was not the only thing that could have been in the case. The bright red guitar not being the only thing? You don't mean to suggest that a bright black guitar... Okay. I sold you. So you intend to push your theory that the case was not empty. Is that right? I wouldn't say something I didn't intend to prove. Deflate that head of yours. You haven't proven anything yet. Now then, let's have it. What was inside the case at the time of the murder? Let me make my Mosman and okay. You didn't have dinner? Dude, it's late for you. I was like, wait, it's like 8 something. It's like closer to 9. All right. What was inside the case at the time of the murder? What was inside of the case? What was inside? What was inside of the case? Check this. This is Lotta's photo. I don't know. What was inside the case? Hold on. We're gonna figure this out. Okay, well, it's definitely not these. Or this. Or this. I'm not gonna assume this. I'm totally guessing things right now. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. I don't think it's not this, because it's ours. It's definitely not those. Not the crime photo. Jammin' Ninja's button? No. I don't think the suicide report or the attempted one. No, because those were all given to us by Edgeworth. And that was found inside the body. This is the last thing we have, so... Please. This is a photograph. Yes, but what's important is what's in that picture, Your Honor. In this picture? It doesn't take a genius to see what I mean. What I'm proposing is... Inside the guitar case was the Nickel Samurai, the hero's very own costume. What? Wait, I didn't... Mr. Wright, explain yourself. Right, are you saying that the witness opened the guitar case to take out a costume? What insane point would there be to be doing something like that? That insane point would be to wear the costume, of course. Miss Andrews put on to hide her identity so she could make her escape. After all, you couldn't let anyone see you leave, could you, Miss Andrews? Oh, we cooking. I refuse to accept your theory. Do you have anything to support such a preposterous idea? Just outside the door was an investigative photographer who was starving for a big scoop. In the end, she managed to get this shot, correct? You mean this photo? Ooh. Order! It looks like we've wandered into quite another mess again, haven't we? Nice job, Phoenix. Well, you know my strategy. Speak first, think later. So the real murderer was hiding inside of a costume. Wait a second, Your Honor. The Nickel Samurai's costume would have been Mr. Matt Ungard's. Why would something of the defendant be in the victim's room and inside the guitar case of all places? True, it is a little baffling. Mr. Wright, the court would like you to hear your thoughts. What was this Nickel Samurai costume doing inside the guitar case? Spare. Mr. Ungard did not take his costume off during the break period. In that case, the costume we were talking about was a spare one. What? Then, are you saying that the night of the murder, there were 2 Nickel Samurai costumes at the Gatewater Hotel? I shout out! Objection on the grounds of speculation. How are we feeling? Yes, that's what I'm saying. How do you explain the costume that was inside the guitar case? It would mean that the victim himself had brought this spare to the ceremony on purpose. Ooh, but why? The victim, Mr. Cordia, was the Jammin Ninja. Why would he secretly bring the Nickel Samurai's spare costume with him? What could be the reason behind such a peculiar act? And therein lies the sticking point. What are you mumbling to yourself about now? Have you been rambling all this time without any sense of inner monologue? Huh? No, I just... Mr. Wright, please explain yourself. Why do you think the victim had the Nickel Samurai spare costume? Phoenix, are you sure you can explain this one? Dude, no. I am not sure. Think carefully before you answer. And then answer with gusto. I believe in you. Bruh. Alright, this is what I think. The reason the victim brought the Nickel Samurai's spare costume to the hotel was... Okay, it's not these. Just, as you can see, I'm feeling a little process of elimination here. It's none of these. It can't be. Because these were given to us. This was in the body. It's taken after. Oh, confess to something right here. Confess. What is this? On the night of the murder, after the stage show, the Nickel Samurai was going to hold a special press conference. A press conference. Yes, the Nickel Samurai was supposed to confess something at the conference. I heard about this as well. For once, you're not making something up, right? But what struck me as strange was that Mr. Ungard himself said that he had no idea he was supposed to be holding a press conference that night. But how can that be? The way I see it, that can only mean one thing. The conference was set up by none other than the victim, Mr. Cordia himself. The victim? Yes. The spare Nickel Samurai costume was prepared for that very conference. Mr. Cordia was going to hold the press conference as the Nickel Samurai. That's scandalous! He was going to dress up as a Nickel Samurai and hold a conference? But why would the victim do such a thing? That's something I don't quite know yet. However, what I'm concerned with right now is what he intended to reveal at the conference. The Nickel Samurai was going to confess something. By confess, I'd wager he was going to reveal something about himself. Which means that Cordia, posing as a Nickel Samurai, was going to speak about Matt Ungard. Yes, I guess that's what it would mean. But if that's the case, that's not a confession. That's public disclosure. Okay, well, they called it a conference. Miss Andrews, I can see why you are pros at what you do. Pardon me? Yes, just as you say, the press conference was set up by one. Miss Andrews, please offer an explanation for this. I was the one he asked to help set it up. And the person who prepared the second costume for him. It was also me. One had to bet everything on Jammin Ninja this year. And if he lost the Grand Prix, he was going to make sure Matt was going down with him. That's what he thought anyway. He was going to ruin him, huh? It looked like somehow one had in his hands a secret so powerful that it would destroy Matt's acting career had it been revealed. What? And do you know what the secret of Mr. Unguard's is, Miss Andrews? That's something only one knew. I don't know what it was. I see. I've probably been coming off quite suspicious to everyone, but that's to be expected. I've been trying to protect Matt after all. Protect Mr. Ungard? And yet again, another strange bit of truth comes to light, it seems. Miss Andrews, if you could, please tell us the truth about your behavior. Yes, Your Honor, I understand. My lord. Feeling a little sick Victorian child who is chimney sweeping but otherwise all right. Oh, you're sick? Please get some rest. Drink some water. Lots of water. Lots of fluids. The moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. Matt had to kill one no matter what. Dad, you switched up so fast. You're all like, oh, I'm gonna protect him. And now you're all like, yeah, I'm sure he did it. He had to kill him. Like, where's the loyalty? He didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course. The button and the knife. But I'm Matt's manager, so I felt I had to protect him. You liar. Liar. And does account for everything. Well, I am the logical type. We're finally seeing her true self. She's more nervous than a scared rabbit. If the defense can find no fault with this testimony, I'm ready to make a ruling. Huh? Please keep that in mind as a cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Looks like somehow everything has swung the opposite end of the scale again. That just means I have to put my weight into this and turn her logic upside down. Protecting Matt. Whatever, dude. From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. Pressing! Would you say that was your intuition speaking to you? Don't confuse my methods of reasoning with your own. Dang! You want to prove that someone did something, you need 3 things. 3 things? A motive, an opportunity to commit the crime, and finally, decisive evidence. If you think these 3 things through, the answer becomes quite clear. Should have already known that, Phoenix. What? They didn't teach us that in school. At least not from what I remember. May I continue now? Unbelievable. I had to kill one no matter what. He didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. My thoughts were confirmed when the evidence, of course, the button and knife. But I'm Matt's manager, so I had to protect him. With the button? I'm pressing this one. You can hardly call the knife decisive evidence. The fingerprints on the knife could very well be a clever camouflage. Then, what about the button? The button? It's clear from the crime scene that the victim and the murderer fought. And during the fight, the killer ripped the button from the Jammin' Ninja costume. You're talking about this button, correct? The button was found in the pleats of Matt's hakama. Isn't that correct? I would think that makes it very decisive evidence. Looks like you were outfoxed again, Mr. Wright. Anyway, the knife doesn't prove a thing. Please fix your testimony. I can't send this out of a man who can't gracefully accept his defeat. Thank goodness Bia gets to look at me with an icy stare. Yes. Please tell us your testimony. That button was torn off from once during a fight with Matt. I'm Matt's manager. Okay. I think we gotta show the button then? No. No. Not the button. The button doesn't matter. What's the last? Attempted suicide report. Strangled with a scarf, then stabbed with a knife. I don't know. How would you take off the button though? Stabbed with a knife. You know what? Fuck it. This is the victim's autopsy report. It clearly states that the cause of death was strangulation by a scarf. Strangulation. The knife stab to the victim was done after the victim had already died. And what does that mean? Let's examine the evidence. This button has the victim's blood on it, which should mean that they ripped off the costume after the knife was stabbed into the victim. Which means this is impossible, for the button was torn off during the victim's final struggle. Because the victim was strangled to death in that fight. That's right, Miss Andrews. There's no way this button was ripped off during the struggle. This button was consciously pulled off from the victim's already dead body. Order! Order! What does this mean? What is the meaning of this, right? So what if the button was torn off the body after the victim had already died? What does that change? Let me ask you one simple question, Mr. Edgeworth. Why was the button torn off? What purpose did it serve? What purpose? We now know this button was not torn off during the fight. So the murderer took the time and effort to purposely rip this from the victim's body. Ooh, someone set him up. That would mean that the murderer had something in mind, wouldn't it? Mr. Wright, does this mean you know the murderer wanted to do with this button? What was it? Have a memento? To pin the crime? To pin the crime! There's only one logical reason for doing something like that. It was to pin the crime on Mr. Ungard. There's no way anyone would have a bloodied button in their own pants. That's right. Mr. Ungard was set up by the real killer, of course. I love this music, by the way. And the real murderer is? Well, Mr. Wright, who's the real murderer? What do you mean, who's the real murderer? Finally. I can't believe I managed to bring this all trial up to this point. Phoenix, you can't let your guard down yet. Not until the very end. The real killer person you plan to frame this. I gotta say it was, Miss Andrews, right? What's the only person I think of? No one person I think of? Also, I gotta snooze an ad really fast. Present. Hi, Oxy. Miss Adrian Andrews. I choose you. You are Mr. Cordia's killer. Okay, Pokemon. What? Order! 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 Mr. Wright. This is a very grave matter. Do you have any evidence that supports your charge? Any evidence? Stop making those faces. All the evidence points to Miss Andrews. How preposterous. You can't stick any of that on me. I can't? Can I? Would you care to test me? Then what about this knife? The knife was used to stab the victim after he had already been strangled to death. It was used to throw suspicion onto Mr. Ungard, naturally. A knife covered in the defendant's fingerprints could have been taken from his room. The only one who had dinner with him and knew which knife to take was you. Then, what about the button that was found in Matt's hakama? This button was removed from the victim's body after he had already died. The only person who would have done so were the person who found his body, or the killer. However, if Mr. Ungard was the real killer, there's no way he would have put such incriminating evidence in his own hakama. The only person who could have put this button into Mr. Ungard's hakama is the person who went to wake him from his nap, which is you, yet again, Miss Andrews. I see. What about the empty guitar case? That is also another piece of evidence that incriminates Miss Andrews. That costume was used to hide the real killer's identity as they fled the crime scene. Now, would you have known that there was such a costume as the guitar case? It could only have been the person who prepared the costume for the victim. And that person is you, Miss Andrews. No, But Miss Andrews' fingerprints were nowhere to be found in the guitar case. It was you who proved that she was not wearing gloves at the time. That's right. That's because she did not intend on leaving any prints. If anyone had found out that she had touched the case, they would have asked her why. So to avoid leaving any prints, she used a towel or something else to open it. But the glass of tomato juice is a different story. Miss Andrews purposely left her fingerprints on the glass to show that, yes, indeed, she was the classic dazed discoverer of a dead body. And to top it all off, there is this photo. A photo of the killer as they exited the scene of the crime. No reasonable person on Earth can believe the Nicholas Samurai is Mr. Ungard. He would be much too short for his own costume if it was him. Speaking of how tall people are, Miss Andrews, you're also kind of short in stature, are you not? Please stop. Well, how about it, Miss Andrews? I've got her this time. Miss Andrews? I refuse to testify. What was that? There's a law. It says I can't be forced to testify about something if it can incriminate me. Oh, incriminate, my bad. Well, yes. You're absolutely correct, Miss Andrews. The law does provide us with a way to avoid self-incrimination by allowing a witness to not testify if the testimony can cause damage to themselves. What? Pleading the fifth is not something most people would think to do on the spot. Actually, they came back to yesterday in Mr. Ungard's room. Adrian Andrews. Think hard about what we just discussed. Think understood. All right. I don't know, not her pleading the fifth, that's what I'm saying. That's when Francesca planted this idea into her head. She must have told Miss Andrews to not testify if things look bad. Did a good job. There's still one thing you haven't done. The thing I haven't done. Oh, it's stupid finger wagging. What's wrong, right? Are you finished already? Run out of evidence. What's so humorous, Mr. Edgeworth? I'm sure you realize this as well, Your Honor. But everything the good lawyer here has proven up to this point is meaningless. What? Everything you have proven is circumstantial. Circumstantial? Yes, circumstantial. You have yet to prove a single piece of definitive proof. Proof that Miss Andrews did in fact harbor a wish to murder Mr. Cordia. Oh, are we gonna bring it up? Are we gonna bring it up? Miss Andrews, did you want to kill Mr. Cordia? I believe this may lead to me incriminating myself, so I will abstain from answering. But Miss Andrews, if you do that, it would be the same as admitting your guilt, don't you think? Maybe so, maybe not. There's nothing to prove it either way. Besides, you don't even know what crime I should be guilty of due to my silence. No, she's taking a defiant attitude again. Mia, what should we do? Somehow we landed in the worst possible situation. We gotta pause. I think we have reached a certain conclusion at this point in time. Miss Adrian Andrews has refused to testify, and the defense theory is that she is the actual murderer has not been fully substantiated with solid, definitive proof. But that's not true. In this situation, there's only one thing the court can do. That's to declare a recess. Okay, cool, we can take a break. Perfect. I request that both the prosecution and the defense look further into the matter, and that tomorrow's trial... Tomorrow? Well, we don't have till tomorrow, though. We don't get to get today, then. Please wait, Your Honor. That's not necessary. Hi, Merlin! The trial. Please continue the trial. What are you sweating for? Your client is getting one more day to live, isn't he? That's not it. This isn't about that. Edgeworth, I know you know who the real killer is. Please let the trial continue. If I don't get the verdict, then Maya... But it's impossible to continue as long as the witness refuses to testify. Now then, this court is... Edgeworth? It's not impossible for this trial to continue. Ooh! Mr. Edgeworth, what are you... It's true Miss Andrews holds the right to, against self-incrimination. However, if the topic of conversation were something unrelated to whatever she would be guilty of, then she has no right to withhold testimony. Yes, that's very true, but... Actually, there is one little thing I'm curious about. Miss Andrews... When you found the victim's dead body, you poured yourself a glass of juice. Yes, and I can't help but think how unnatural that is. Usually when you find a dead body, you're shaken up, not stirred in a glass of juice. Exactly! So my actions were unusual, but I've already... Before you speak, I want to state if you have a reason behind your actions, I would like you to testify to that effect. Testify? Your Honor, I would like to request that the witness testify again as to what happened when she first discovered the victim's body. Whatever we find out in the testimony should in no way implicate the witness. I don't know what it is about Edgeworth today, but I can't get a good read off him. Is he friend or foe? I just don't know. Not that working together? I know. They always end up working together, and I low-key, high-key love it. The court acknowledges the prosecution's request. Miss Andrews, if you please. All right, we gotta pause, though. No, we gotta pause. I really need to pause. I got a case to continue. When I found a body... More times you gotta remember you about this life. That glass of juice, I didn't really pour it for myself. I was surprised when I walked to the room and saw it in a messy state. And Juan, he was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. When I saw him sitting like that, the thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind. To be honest, I thought he had just fainted or something, so I went to pour him some juice. This bitch is lying! That's not what you said 30 minutes ago. When I realized that he was dead, that's when I knocked the flower vase over. You lying. Wanna fuck you lying. I showered and washed my hair. I feel ready to paint now. I gotta brush my hair, but I don't want to. That was me earlier. I feel like wash days are so exhausting. So you poured that glass of juice for the victim, but didn't you say so in your early, or why didn't you say so in your early testimony? I think I needed to include something so trivial. Liar! Phoenix, please be careful here. If you can't find anything wrong with this testimony, then there's nothing left. Hi, Jay. I appreciate you for popping in. I hope you've been well. You know, I've been hanging on, you know, trying. I'll wash my locks soon. It's a pain, right? Edgeworth, what the heck is going on with this brain of yours? Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. Okay. There was literally a freaking knife out of his chest. How did you not... You know why you did it? Because you fucking did it. Whatever, that glass of juice didn't pour it for himself. I was surprised when I walked into the room and saw it in a messy state. And Juan, he was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. When I saw him sitting like that, I thought that he was... The thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind. Where's the crime scene photo? Where's the fucking crime scene photo? But this one? Yeah. Miss Lady. Miss Ma'am. Miss Ma'am. He's literally facing you. Washing is already a whole task. I don't want to brush it too. Just want to chop it off. I think about that sometimes. I feel it. Thinking tough. Heard that. How's my guy? Tell him I missed the homie. I'll let him know. I'll let him know. He's playing some baseball game right now. But he's, you know, the same. Just trying our best, you know. Yeah, thanks for the hydrate. Everyone drink some water. So you honestly think that you honestly didn't think he was dead when you found him? No, not at all. Even though this is what you saw when you discovered the body. Literally. What is the meaning of this? Isn't it obvious, Your Honor? There is a knife sticking straight out of Mr. Cordia's chest. Anyone who saw this scene would have immediately thought that he was a dead man. That's... Well, you see... Hold on. Let me send this to Babe. Okay, let me let him know right now. The people have spoken. I love this song, by the way. I doubt a single person in the world would have mistaken this for someone who fainted. And then so nonchalantly go pour something to drink. Your point is? Miss Andrews, your testimony just now, it was all one giant lie. Me too, I second this. I want to put that too. Spacey says, me too. And your lie has proven one thing very clearly. That you are the real killer. No. What's going on here? Why my screen go black? Looks like the defense has somehow brought the ugly truth to light. The defendant, Mr. Matt Ungard, is not guilty after all. But that's impossible. You're wrong. Miss Andrews, try to have some composure. It wasn't me. It wasn't me, I tell you. It was Matt. I swear it. He's the one who killed Juan. But you were the one who refused to testify. And your reason for not doing so is that you might end up incriminating yourself. That's because... Miss Andrews, I will give you one last chance. What exactly are you hiding that may incriminate you? I refuse to testify. He says, tell the people no. They don't approve. Then there is no need for the court to continue it further. Mr. Matt Ungard's innocence has been clearly demonstrated. Is it over? Have we found the truth at last? What's wrong, Phoenix? Usually the real killer is confessing his or her guilt. Tell him we don't care. Yeah, I said they don't approve. I know he's got games to play. I was like, you gotta finish Little Nightmares 1 and 2. You still gotta play Detroit Become Human. Like, we're waiting. The people are waiting. You know, maybe some FIFA plays. You know, some packs. You know, baseball stuff. I know you could hear me, babe. I know you could hear me. And now that I think about it, this is the first time someone hasn't. Now then, I would like to hand down my verdict for Mr. Mountain Guard. Don't bother, Steve. Let him cook. I can bother whoever I want. Your Honor, prosecution feels that it would be premature to pass down a verdict at this time. What? The reason is quite simple. The people will never forget. It's like when you're playing a Telltale game and it's all like, what's his name? I can't remember anyone's name right now. They're like, Lilith will never, or Lily will never forget, or blank will remember this. Like, you know, that's the dumb shit. I hate that. It gives me so much anxiety. I'm like, ah. This witness has yet to speak the absolute real truth. The absolute real truth. What are you? Witness. Don't you understand yet? Huh? I don't know who planted this silly idea in your head, but as long as you protect yourself through your silence, Matt and Guard will go free. And in his place, you will become the guilty party. That's a lie. I don't believe you. What? I was told if I spoke, then it would be all over and Matt would never be declared guilty. What in the world is she talking about? Has she lost? What is going on here? I can't speak about it. I'm too scared. It's Francesca von Karma. So you remember, Phoenix? Miss Andrews lives by gripping tightly into the words of another because she doesn't have the strength to believe in herself. Then right now, Miss Andrews is... Yesterday, she was tossed the lifesaver by Miss von Karma. Don't say a word. No matter what happens, if you do, Matt and Guard will be acquitted. Miss Andrews undyingly believes in those words right now, and she's clinging on to them. Then what should we do? This is the first time I've ever come across anything like this. But Miss Andrews has to be the killer, right? All we have to do now is are not guilty. That's my only priority. You said no to taking out the zombie. Lily will remember this. I had to invent another. Oh, hold on. I will message him this too. It wasn't me. I'm begging you. Please believe me. I didn't kill Juan. Help. Please. Someone help me. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor? The court can't continue on like this. Therefore, I'd like to hear what you intend to do. What I intend to do? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say? Right. I suggest you think very carefully about this. Think about what this witness did and what she did not do. Oh, no. And think about who is the real mastermind behind this crime. Who's the real mastermind? Isn't that obvious? Unless there's someone else behind, like, controlling her. What? There's no one else that could be except the woman crying over here right now, right? Come on now, what will you do? What kind of man are you? Mr. Oh, dang, what kind of man are you? Dude, we're gonna force her to fucking testify. Actually, do request... Okay, wait. Let's talk it out. I'm forcing her to testify. Fuck it. I had to win a complete acquittal today. There was no way around that. But I can't myself to do it like this. Not when she's making a face like that. Miss Andrews, I would like to know what you are really hiding. Mr. Wright, are you sure you know what you're doing? Never. Sure, Mr. Angard would get an acquittal, but in his place, you would be found guilty. Is this how you really want to end this trial? Be quiet. How dare you? You're trying to trick me. That's enough. I commend you for trying, Mr. Edgeworth. However, it's clear that the defense theory is the truth. You're wrong. Finger wagging. What a shame. I had hoped things wouldn't come to this. However, what is it, Mr. Edgeworth? Miss Andrews, since you absolutely refuse to testify, it falls on my shoulders to disclose this to the court. Stop. Mr. Edgeworth. This witness, how should I put this? She has an illness. What? And because of this illness, she had tried to commit suicide in the past. Stop, please stop. No matter how much you want to hide it, it's no use. I have the evidence right here. That's second part of the suicide. Yeah, we said we wouldn't bring it up. Edgeworth brought it up, so. Well, you do now, witness. You know what I'm about to do, don't you? I will now reveal to the court the true nature of the pitiful woman known as Adrian Andrews. The secret of her dependent nature. Having other people know about it scares her more than anything else in the world. Please, please stop. I beg you. If people find out, I'll... If you're going to say you would choose death, that is of no concern to me. Ooh, this man heartless. How could you be so heartless? However, before you die, I will pull the truth from your still breathing lips. Ah! No matter what I have to do. Hell yeah. So tell the court yourself, or shall I? Either is fine with me. Not your lawyer throw you under the bus. I mean, he's not a lawyer, but yeah. I'll talk, but please, help me. Nothing matters anymore. Right is Goku and Edgeworth is Vegeta. I'm so dead. When I first saw him, I really thought he had fainted. When I realized he was dead, that's when I formulated my plan. Once I made sure there was no one in the hallway, I made a dash back to Matt's room. And then I stabbed Juan's dead body with a knife and ripped off the button. Just when I finished and was returning to Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience. That's why I ended up using the Nickel Samurai costume. Stab the body with a knife? But why would you do that? Isn't it obvious to pin the blame on a certain person? A certain cowardly man. Oh. What do you mean by all this? It might take this court a little while to understand, but... This is the truth. The real killer is Matt. That scumbag of a man, I'll never forgive him. He's trying to escape his guilt again, just like last time. Last time? So Miss Andrews stabbed the victim, Juan Cordia, in the chest with a knife. However, she didn't do it with the murder in mind. She did it with the intent of framing Matt on guard for the murder. What? And this is her crime. Whatever. How is this possible? I mean, wasn't Miss Andrews supposed to be the real murderer? Mr. Wright, please get over your shock and commence the cross-examination. Do you know how hard that is, though? You know what? I just... How many times did she change her fucking story? When I first saw him, I really thought he had fainted. Honest, pressing. Since you changed everything, I'm gonna press everything. But you could tell from the state of the room he was in, there must have been a fight. Are you telling me the truth when you say that you didn't know he was dead? He had a scarf tied around his neck. Hi, Kai! But that scarf is part of that gem and ninja's costume, so I didn't think anything about it was strange. His head was also tilted down a bit, so I couldn't see his face that well. That's why I thought I'd wake him up and went to pour the juice. It's so loud in my ears right now. When I realized he was dead, that was when I formulated my plan. What was the plan you had? I knew right away the murderer was Matt. I knew because, one, he was going to expose Matt's weakest weak point to the world, sorry. So Matt did this to stop Juan and silence him for good. That's when I thought, I should forge some evidence to pin this crime on Matt. What a terrible manager. I'm just saying. Like, what? I thought you were gonna protect him. Why'd you... What? I still don't understand the reasoning. As your knight, I don't understand this lady, Kai, and I'm gonna be here. We're gonna be here longer than the 4 hours because I really want to finish this case, but she's just talking so much about nothing. So the forged pieces of evidence were the knife and the button. The first thing that came to mind was plant the knife. Once I made sure there was no one in the hallway, I made a dash back to Matt's room. Wait, I wanted to press that. My bad, I pressed the wrong button. Sheesh, I know! That was so you could get the knife, correct? The knife Matt used at dinner had his fingerprints all over it. I thought if I used that, then the police would certainly turn his eyes towards him. Matt was napping with his costume on at the time. I slipped in, took the knife, and returned to the scene of the crime. And then I stabbed Juan's dead body with the knife and ripped off the button. So you were the one who stabbed the victim with a knife. It gives me goosebumps to think about it now. What a horrible thing I did. You don't say! But at the time, I couldn't control my own body. It moved on its own. Huh? Then when I stabbed Juan's dead body, I suddenly realized something. If I used the button somehow, I could make Matt look even more suspect. So you thought to rip one of the buttons off and then plant it in Mr. Ungard's Hakama. Yes, that's what I planned to do. But things never go that smoothly, do they? I can't be here long. Gotta go to Safe Sim for work tomorrow. Get some rest, Fred. I appreciate you popping up, though. Pressing. I heard claiming Ultra Instinct. I'm dead. An inconvenience? There was a woman with a camera at the ready, loitering in the hallway. I'm willing to bet my spikes it was a lotta. There was also a woman with a ray gun at the at the ready, pacing back and forth. Nice old bag. I had already been caught and made into a big scoop for the weekly tabloid once. I couldn't very well be looking like myself and get caught again. And that's why I ended up using the Nickel Samurai's costume. And you were the one who prepared that costume, weren't you? Yes, I took it from Global Studios. I also put it in Juan's guitar case the day before the award ceremony. You did this in preparation for the press conference, correct? Yes, Juan wanted to wear that costume and hold a press conference in it. Okay, but why? Why'd you agree to it? I don't get it. He was going to disclose Matt's big secret there. And what was his secret? Why couldn't he just do it in his own costume? That I don't know. Anyway, I thought if I had to leave Juan's room in Nickel Samurai costume, then people would think that Matt was the real murderer. I was very careful not to leave any fingerprints when I opened the guitar case. I absolutely did not want anyone to know about the costume. So after that, you went back to Mr. Ungard's room and planted the button into Matt's Hakama? Yes. After that, I folded up the costume I was wearing and put it into a bag, and I snuck out of the hotel and got rid of it. My word, what does this all mean? It means she's a liar, okay? A liar and a terrible manager. Let me calm down. Mr. Edgeworth, is it? The real criminal is Matt Ungard. Yesterday, that woman prosecutor sat me down for a talk. Francesca, huh? She said that I should, under no circumstances, confess to what I had done. That if I kept quiet, then Matt would have been found guilty for sure. I had no choice but to believe her words. What this witness has done is clearly unlawful. However, as long as her testimony stands, we can't be certain she did not, or she is not the real killer. Wait, Your Honor, the defense still... Right? It's pointless. At this point in time, it is not possible to indict Miss Andrews on anything. Yes, exactly. There isn't a single piece of evidence that points to her as the murderer. Cross-examination of the witness is over, and so is today's trial. You couldn't establish that the witness was the culprit. Please let it go, Mr. Wright. But, Mr. Edgeworth, please place Miss Andrews under arrest for further questions. Understood, Your Honor. The prosecution will arrange her detention immediately. That is all. Court's adjourned for today. Ooh, but Maya! No. What? Derby. Okay. Today's trial is over, and I didn't win an acquittal. Witness, would you mind if I asked you something? Edgeworth? What is it? Before you leave court today, I wonder if I might look at one thing. The card in your hand. It had my interest for quite some time now. What exactly is it? Oh, this? Mr. Wright also asked about this. Although I don't remember at the time you asked me about it, Mr. Wright. I remember just now. I found this in the room on that day. The room? That day? Yes. I found this card when I discovered Juan's body. It was lying right next to him. You found that card next to the victim's body. I suppose I must have unconsciously slipped it into my pocket. But it's not as if this card has any relevance to Juan's murder, right? I guess not, but it's still a strange card if you ask me. But as far as a clue this case, I don't see why. Witness! That card! Give it to me. Hurry. Oh, Edgeworth, do you have any idea what you stupidly yet inadvertently done? I can't believe you hid this from me all this time. I didn't mean to. What is this all about? I've never seen Edward so emotional before. That card. What in the world is it and what does it mean? Oh, to be continued. It's fine, we're still going. You guys are stuck with me still.